back to Money School. Check it out. Today, I'm gonna teach you the only equation that you need to know if you wanna get rich.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Man, let me tell you, when I knew that I wanted to play the game of real estate, I was terrified of the calculations. Like, I assumed there was gonna be crazy amounts of rocket science and I might need to know like trigonometry or advanced algebra. Turns out that 5th grade math was literally all I really needed. In fact, if you're comfortable with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, that's pretty much all you really need to make your first several $1 million. In fact, it's probably all you need to make $1 billion.
100 billion dollars.
Now, you might be watching today's video on your smartphone, and if you are, that phone also has a really basic dumb calculator, and it has those basic multiplication signs, and we're gonna use a little bit of that because there's really only one equation that you need to know if you want to get rich. And let me show you what it is. Check this out. The most powerful force in the world, said by Albert Einstein, do you know what it is? It's compounding interest. It's a way to earn interest on the interest you receive, which multiplies money at an accelerating rate. The rule of 72 shows you the power of compounding interest. So today I want to show you what the rule of 72 is and how I use it in real estate, how I use it in business, how I use it in finance, because ultimately it's going to help me decide whether I am or am not going to invest in something. So what I'm telling you is that when you were a kid in elementary school or even junior high, if someone had taught you the rule of 72 and how important it is, it literally has the power to change the trajectory of your life because it reveals this singular answer. If this investment, if I invest in it, will it get me to my goal or not? It's going to answer that question for you. And by the way, if you're going to make excess money outside of your expenses and want to invest it in something, shouldn't you be asking whether it's sufficient to actually get you to your goal? Don't you want to know if it will lead to the financial freedom or the retirement or supplementing your income that you hope it will? So let me explain the rule of 72. This is my financial sniff check. In other words, this is the equation that I do when I'm deciding how much of my money I want to invest in something. Now, it's basically defined as the interest rate, 72. This is just a coefficient. It's a static number. It's always 72. It's why it's called the rule of 72. You take the number 72 and you divide it by the interest rate, and what it will give you is the number of years that it takes to double your money. All right, check it out. I got my handy dandy calculator right here. I'm gonna show you how the rule of 72 works in real life. Let's just assume for a moment that you were taught by your parents that you should save money and that you should put it in the bank because that is a smart thing to do. And let's just say that you found out that your bank pays you 0.25% a year. So let's just say you had 10 grand. In fact, I have $10,000 right here. And let's do the math. And I'm curious, if I put 10,000 and keep it in the bank, and I'm earning 0.25% interest rate, how long will it take to double my money? Well, I'm going to take 72 and I'm going to divide it by the interest rate, 0.25. And the answer, it'll take 288 years to double my money. In fact, in 288 years, 10,000 will become $20,000. Now let me ask you a question. Now that you have that information in front of you, would you ever put money in the bank at 0.25% interest growth to like try to make money? No, it's obvious that that's asinine. That makes absolutely zero sense.
That just makes no sense.
How come you know that now? Because you're not gonna live to be 288 years old, and the rule of 72 helped you figure out that that would be a really stupid investment.
Stupid.
But come on, Kris. I mean, people aren't that dumb. They're not really putting money in the bank because they want to grow it. That's just a place where they're putting it to keep it safe. Fine. You tell me what else you're investing your money in. If you're investing it in a 401k, an IRA, the stock market, did you know that the average IRA makes 5% a year? Let's find out what the math looks like. I got my calculator right here, and I decide to take the number 72, it's always that number, and I'm gonna divide it by 5 because I'm now earning 5% a year in my 401k, and it tells me that my money will double in 14.4 years. Hold the phone. I'm only planning on working 40 years. I can't double my money more than 2.5, maybe 3 times at max in that period of time. So if I started with $10,000, then I might make another 10 and another 10, maybe a little bit more. But you ask yourself, can you retire on $30,000? That's why I don't have a 401k. I never will have a 401k. And it's because the rule of 72 reveals that if the compounding interest rate is too low, then it can't grow anything meaningful in the time that I need it to. Well, Kris, turns out that I'm smarter than that. You see, I've heard of this thing in the stock market called the S&P 500. Have you heard of this? They take the 500 most successful businesses that are established, and you basically get to buy a piece of all of their earnings and average it out. And did you know that on average over 30 years that they make 8%? 8 is more than 5%. Let's see how the math holds up. I take 72, I divide it by 8. That is the compound interest growth rate on money in the S&P 500 on average. And it tells me that it will take 9 years to double my money. Well, if I'm planning on working again, a 40-year working life, then my money basically only has 4 times the double. So instead of taking 10,000 and turning it right now into 20 or 30,000, maybe it turns into 40, maybe it turns into $50,000. Is that like an alarmingly exciting amount of money? Probably not. And here's why. When you use the rule of 72, what it reveals is that if you're earning money with single digits to be safe, like 5%, 7%, 8%, you're going to learn that the interest on the interest doesn't become exciting. You actually have to get into the double digits for something really magical to happen. And for everyone wondering why, for example, I love real estate so much, check out what happens when I plug real estate into the rule of 72. Well, I've got that same $10,000 and I'm going to take 72. And this time, all of my real estate, I don't touch a deal unless I'm earning at least 25% a year. So 72 divided by 25 is 2.88. That means in less than 3 years, my money doubles. And then in less than 3 years, it doubles again. And I want to ask you, is that exciting? Let's do some math. I plan on working 40 years. I hope you don't plan on working 40 years, but if you did, and you divided that by 2.88, you could literally double your money almost 14 times, not 2, not 3, not 4, and you have to ask, okay, so what's the big difference then between 25% and 7 or 8% in the stock market? Flip the slide, let me show you what this looks like. It means that the growth curve over 20 years is that amount of money does almost nothing when it's growing at your typical boring 6%, but at 25%, it's 27 times more money. Literally millions of dollars versus tens of thousands of dollars. So this rule of 72, that's all I need when making a decision on an investment. Because it's not about diversifying into, I own some real estate, I own some business, I own some stocks. What I'm really doing is not diversifying the opportunity, but diversifying the ROI. You see, in my world, I have some of my money earning me double-digit ROIs. I have some of my money earning me triple-digit ROIs. I have some of my money earning quadruple-digit ROIs. And I have some of my money earning infinite ROIs. Today, we've only talked about 25% in real estate. Do you know what happens when you apply the rule of 72, for example, to like a 10,000% return? 72 divided by 10,000 is 0.0072 years. So we're going to multiply that by 365 days, and it'll tell me that I'll literally have my money doubling in a quarter of a day. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. What if your money could double in days, weeks, or months instead of years or decades? The reason why people financially do not become free is because they're being safe with their money, and safe is another word for never gonna make it.
You'll never make it.
Safe means nothing bad will ever happen, except when you get to retirement and then you don't have the money that you actually need. The rule of 72 is something I am teaching you today so that when you're evaluating your opportunities, you can look at how long it will take to double your money. And if you keep investing in things that are too conservative, well, you can now do the math. you're not gonna have enough money. And that, my friend, is a mistake. You know, one of the reasons why people subscribe here to attend financial school with me is so that you can learn the things financially that really matter. When I was in school, they taught me algebra, they taught me the Pythagorean theorem, the quadratic equation. They focused on the square root of this and that, trigonometry. And I gotta tell you that in my adult life, I've never used any of those equations for building wealth. It doesn't mean that they're not important. I'm sure to architecture and engineering and all sorts of things it is. But in my practical world and your practical world of learning how to multiply money, for me, there's only one equation that matters, and it's the ultimate sniff check. It is the rule of 72. And it's how I know if I'm gonna get an aggressive enough return to pull the trigger on it. So check it out. I've written a book, not just about this equation, but the 5 investments on how you earn powerful single digit, double digit, triple digit, quadruple digit, infinite digit. If you had a small amount of money in each of these 5, we're talking about dollars, you'd be surprised that you could become financially free literally in a matter of years versus decades or maybe even never. There's a link below. You got to get this book. Have it all. The roadmap to becoming a self-made millionaire shares the 5 investments that you need to make to get there. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is what you should have learned in your home. This is what you should have learned in junior high. This is what you should have learned in high school. And you should have at least learned it by college, but you didn't, because this right here is a wealth of knowledge from the wealthy. And I'm giving it to you today for free. Click the link below, cover the shipping and handling. I'm going to send you the book for free. I'm going to show you how easy it is to rock your financial world. Check it out. Now that you understand the rule of 72, I'm now going to have you evaluate the 5 worst investments that society tells you you should invest in, and you're going to use the rule of 72 to find out why that wouldn't be the smartest choice. Click here, watch the video, do the math, and level up that financial genius. Hey, words are supposed to come out of my mouth. No. This is a lot of brain power, Barrett. Oh my gosh, this is a lot of brain power.
Welcome to Money School. You only need one.